streets. I can't see you, hear me.
Good morning, Oklahoma is possibly in store for that dose of severe weather that we're expecting starting on Wednesday, and that includes straight-line winds, large hail, and possibly even tornadoes.
Oklahoma, in the heart of America, one of the most deeply afflicted states in the opioids addiction crisis. Oklahoma might change the course of history. For the first time in the United States, a doctor will be sued by the state for second-degree murder for overprescribing opioids. Here's the accused, Dr. Regan Nichols. A family doctor for over 22 years, she is now suspected of being a prescription murderer. The judge has to ascertain if there is enough material to go to trial. The plaintiffs in the room have all lost a child, a brother, a friend from an opioid overdose. Dr. Nichols was their doctor. She was the one prescribing the drugs.
My name's Irvin Box. I'm an attorney in Oklahoma City. I practice criminal defense. I've been a police officer, and I've been a prosecutor, and I've been a judge. I've been here all my life. I'm born and raised in Oklahoma. We're right in the heart of the oil production. We're right on the edge of where cowboys are. And so we've got a lot of people in here that are hardworking people. And it's a pretty peaceful city as far as that goes.
Irvin Box knows these roads inside out and is on first-name terms with the local people. All his career, he's defended this community. But today, the clients have changed.
Before I was having people from more the poverty level. Now I have people of all walks of life. I have lawyers, I have doctors' children who have become addicted to the opiates. Now it's every level and every area of life, as far as for the low income, high income, all of them are affected by the opiate use.
He represents several families from this town. Everyone has lost a relative deceased of a cardiac arrest following a painkiller overdose. Drugs prescribed by Dr. Nichols.
Box and Box Attorneys, this is Jennifer.
This Oklahoma City lawyer has never seen a case like this. A new victim wants to press charges.
Hey, come in. Good to see you. Good to see you. Have a seat.
Annette Marshall has been raising her 2 children alone since her husband died of a painkiller overdose.
My math shows that's 99 per day that she would have prescribed him. I know he passed away like May 2nd.
Are you talking about in 2012?
2012, yeah.
Yes.
States.
He was a fireman.
Jersey.
She works as an education counselor. A regular family. All it took was back surgery to turn everything over. In a few months, her husband became addicted to the painkillers prescribed by Dr. Nichols.
Of course, once you have back surgery, it's never quite the same. And then they did some other treatments, and he had, some other issues with just on the job, just injuries that from having such a physical job. And I think it just snowballed,
He persisted with the pain, but instead of trying to wean him off those, she just dose after dose after dose after dose, and really became his drug dealer. And more drugs than regular drug dealers off the street would prescribe, but she's doing it in the name of medicine. It was actually World War I.
According to her, Dr. Nichols would swiftly see patients without any physical exam, a few dollars for a prescription. Her husband would have been prescribed 100 pills a day, 3,000 a month.
The doctor should have been the responsible person. They're trained, and that's what their job is to make sure they're treating you in a healthy manner and they're doing what's best for you and not what's going to bring harm to you. It happens to just your next door neighbor, to your Oklahoma City firefighter, to your Oklahoma City police officer, to your school teacher, to your, it's not a disease that is specific. It can hit anybody.
How come opioids invaded America? Pain has become a market, and the idea of not suffering even lightly is a given. In drugstores that look like fast foods, anyone can shop for painkillers. Physical or psychological, a painkiller exists for almost any reason.
Imagine facing the day with less chronic osteoarthritis pain. Imagine living your life with less chronic low back pain. Imagine you with less pain that can help.
Amongst the painkillers on prescription are the opioids. Usually prescribed for backaches or headaches, 2 million Americans are addicted to these pills. For a reason that most ignore, they're opium-based.
I'm Jason Beeman, and I am the chair of psychiatry at Oklahoma State University's Center for Health Sciences. Our oath is essentially first do no harm. And I think that that's one of the biggest problems is that doctors don't realize that by prescribing opioids, that they could doing more harm than good. And we've seen that in a lot of cases.
What were they originally prescribed for?
Well, historically, the use has been for what we call cancer pain. That cancer does a lot of horrible things to your body and can cause a lot of pain. Nowadays, it's used for a lot of different things.
These pills are called hydrocodone, Percocet, OxyContin, or fentanyl. All the drugs that are legally sold on the market share the same component, a powerful narcotic, heroin. And sometimes they are 1,000 times more opium concentrated.
The opioid compound comes from a plant called the opium poppy. And these plants are really grown mostly in Asia, and then they're imported by drug companies into the United States. But what we do with the pills is we take the good parts of the flower that you would smoke, and we concentrate them in a little pill. And so the pills are much more potent than smoking ever was. But in the United States, we outlawed the smoking of opium in the early 1900s. If you get a 3-day prescription, there is a 13% chance that you'll be taking those opioids a year later. So whether it's a few prescriptions, a few pills, it's a very small amount that it takes to get addicted.
To the left, a lethal dosage of heroin. To the right, its equivalent on 2 opium samples.
Today you will know you did something for your pain. Talk to your doctor.
To be able to not feel pain has become a tacit agreement between doctor and patient. But at what price? These drugs are ticking bombs. Who's aware of that fact? Did Dr. Nichols know?
A wrongful death lawsuit is filed today against a Midwest city doctor.
Regan Nichols is already accused of prescribing a massive amount of opioids to 5 patients who later died.
But then when I heard that there was 4 other deaths, then I started thinking, uh-oh.
Good evening. A Midwest city doctor,
A doctor in
behind
Oklahoma,
bars tonight.
3 million doses. That's the amount of narcotics investigators say Dr. Regan Nichols prescribed since 2010.
I was very happy she got arrested, and I was watching on TV. I was very happy for that to happen. But on the other part, it was sad, because this is supposed to be a doctor. How many did she harm? I didn't know. And then you turn mad. I'm mad. I'm mad. Why? I'm mad because she took my daughter. I'm mad that she took my daughter away. So I'm mad now.
Lisa and Eddie have spent their entire life in this house. This is where their daughter Chelsea was born 21 years ago. Here also that she passed away of a painkiller overdose in 2013. Their story is one of an analgesic-burdened family hiding in the secret and shame of addiction.
She's had
4 back surgeries.
Dr. Nichols was Lisa's doctor for 7 years. She was the first to fall into the opioids trap.
When I first started seeing her, I thought she was going to be okay, and she was giving me pain medicine to help my back. But as the years go by, of course, your body gets used to that medicine, so then it doesn't work. You know, you used to could take one pain pill, and now you're having to take 2 or 3 pain pills because the pain is so bad. So it just increased, and it's just a vicious cycle, because you know you got to have the medicine, but you know you don't want to have to take that much medicine. But you can't. I couldn't work and do my job if I didn't have the medicine.
Lisa hid her own addiction. What she didn't know is that her daughter was doing the same thing. For 3 years, Chelsea had diabetes, which causes muscular pains. It was her turn to consult with Dr. Nichols.
I asked her about the quantity of medicine she was giving her, and her response to me was, Chelsea was an adult, that she couldn't talk to me about Chelsea's medical, but she could talk to me about Chelsea's diabetes, but she wouldn't talk to me about the medication that she was giving her. I did trust her. I trusted her with my daughter, and that I feel extremely responsible, because Chelsea would have never seen her.
Never seen her. Go ahead. And I met this doctor, you know, more than once, several times at the hospital, when Chelsea would be in the hospital. I thought she seemed very caring. You know, I mean, that's what I would have thought by listening to her. You know, I ask her questions, and you just don't know. Maybe money made her do it. Maybe it's the love of money maybe did that to her. Because I know that when she chose to be a doctor, I would bet on it that she chose to want to help people.
We met Dr. Nichols almost a year ago. I think she has a very good heart. She wants to help people. Maybe a little awkward, but she's got a really sweet heart. My name's Tommy Adler. I'm a criminal defense attorney here at Oklahoma City. We represent Dr. Regan Nichols. I really like her very much. Doctors lose patients all the time. To accuse a doctor of acting in reckless disregard for her patients when we believe that she was genuinely attempting to care for them is a big step for the government. That exposes doctors to a lot of risk. These were troubled people. These patients were abusing the things that they had access to. It wasn't the amounts that Dr. Nichols prescribed these people that killed them. It was the amounts that they decided to take.
Her line of defense is set, to shift away the shadow of responsibilities. Dr. Nichols was an irreproachable professional who was duped by drug addicts. And she never had any awareness that her patients were facing any danger whatsoever. Nowadays in Oklahoma City, addiction can be seen at every corner.
I think America got here because we are the most medicated country in the world. We are a country of fast food, quick fixes, now. Feel bad? Here's a pill. Hurt? Here's a pill. Erectile dysfunction? Here's a pill. All of those things are right there at a doctor's pen. But pain is good. Pain reminds us that we're alive.
Jake was addicted to opioids. He went to this center as a patient. Since then, he's become the head of the facility in order to save others like himself. Everyone here has to learn to live without painkillers. This private ranch has 30 places a year, but receives 40 requests a day. At 21 years old, Kyle is in rehab for the first time.
What's up, brother? You doing all right?
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good. Well, cool, man. How you feeling?
Felt better.
I got you.
So,
All right. You stayed clean?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Take a drug test.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right, man. We'll get your mom in here, and then we'll get everything started.
Okay.
So, all right, after you guys.
Good morning. Kyle. J.R. Nice to meet you.
Kyle's been to college and is the father of a little boy. But 4 years ago, he became addicted to opioids and then heroin.
All right. Opiates, heroin, and OxyContin. Anything else? No? Okay. And this is first treatment time, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. How are you feeling?
Very emotional.
I gotcha. It's emotional for everybody. She's waiting for her boy to come back. It's going to take, Kyle, about 30 days for you to really begin to see a change.
Yeah.
This is life and death, man. There's only 3 ways out of this, which is get sober, which is what I pray for you. The second one is prison, if you're lucky. Third one is you get buried.
I don't know how else to say it, but I'm at my end. I can't do this anymore. I just can't. I love him so much, but I would rather not see him than put up with this monster that I don't know.
Are you leaving?
Yeah.
All right, love you.
Love you too.
I promise we'll take good care of you.
Okay.
Kyle has 90 days to learn to live without opioids.
How it feels? For one, like my body, it aches a lot. My thought process, it's slow. I've got a lot of anger in me. I've got a lot of sad emotions in me. It's just, I can't keep my emotions in one place. And, you know, on top of that, I hurt. I don't feel good. One of my friends died. It's one of my best friends. And after that, me and my friend just kind of stuck together and we're doing these pills, and it was just blocking out so much pain. We were so stressed out, like fighting back tears every day. I think that's how I got addicted, was just blocking out that pain. It made me feel good. It made me forget. It actually helped me out with a lot of things. You know, I depended on it. That was my girl. You know, that was my love. And then just this last year, like too many bad things. I've lost my family, and that wasn't enough. That wasn't enough to make me want to change. And mentally in my head, like I've gotten close to, you know, these pills are creating monsters, and I don't think that they should be legal.
Just like tobacco addiction, the dangers of opioids have been hidden. It has taken 20 years for the government to take action, for financial reasons.
My office filed a lawsuit against Purdue Pharma, Allergan, Cephalon, and Janssen Pharmaceuticals. In putting this lawsuit together, we believe these companies are culpable for the tragic, heartbreaking number of Oklahomans who have become addicted or who have died as a result of the opioid epidemic in our state.
He's the Oklahoma Attorney General, and the first one in his country to go to battle. Mike Hunter is publicly accusing pharmaceutical companies of having caused this epidemic. In order to prove it, he and his team have been investigating for more than a year.
Yes, my name is Reggie Whitten. I'm an attorney here in Oklahoma City.
My name is Michael Burridge. I am a lawyer in Oklahoma.
Okay, have you started reading this book yet? General Hunter hired my law firm, Whitten & Burridge, to represent the state of Oklahoma and try to recoup all of the costs that the state has incurred because of the opioid epidemic. We need this person as a expert. Let's see if I can find him. I think we're going to be able to prove that 80% of all the crime in the state of Oklahoma is directly caused by this opioid epidemic. And our prisons are overfilled because of it. Loss of productivity of tax-paying citizens costs the state money. But I'm anxious to get this first battle started.
What they did to this country.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Their estimates bring the cost of the epidemic to $7 billion in Oklahoma. This historical hearing will take place in a few days. Today, Reggie Whitten will explain his motivations to a group of students, for this struggle is a personal one.
My partner, Reggie, has been involved in fighting the opioid addiction and the opioid crisis ever since the death of his son, Brandon. I had a niece that died also related to drugs. And so when the Attorney General talked to us about representing the state in this case, I think he knew that we both had family members that died because of the epidemic.
We're going to talk to incoming freshman athletes at the University of Oklahoma. I'm going to tell them the story about my son Brandon and about the power of addiction and how dangerous it is, and maybe save somebody's life. Hi, everybody. I think I got a chance to shake almost everybody's hand when you came in. I was trying to figure out what sport you are. It's hard to guess every sport from your size, but thank you guys for coming. So let me introduce you to my co-speaker tonight. This is Brandon. And Brandon's not here today, and I'll tell you why later. This is me when I was at OU and I had this young son, and also when I had more hair. Brandon was a cute little kid. Brandon, his plan was to go to college and play football, which he did. He ended up playing on a national championship football team, never got in any kind of trouble. And the drug that brought him down was an opioid. And it did not come from the streets. It came from a pharmacy. I just told him, stop using those pills. I found out it's not that easy. I found out it's like telling a diabetic to use more willpower and stop needing insulin. You can't do that. That's crazy. I never told him about addiction. I never warned him. And so now I have survivor guilt now, but I'm living with it. So I started a foundation called Fighting Addiction Through Education, because I think education is the key to this problem. But when I tell this story at schools, it gets so quiet, you could hear a pin drop. And they're not really interested in me. They're interested in Brandon. I show pictures of him. He was one of them. He's just an ordinary kid. And if an ordinary kid like Brandon can end up getting hooked, they could too. And that is the truth. These pills that Big Pharma sells, they're essentially heroin pills. Most people don't know that, but these opioids are essentially the same as heroin. That's the key. Telling patients that they're not addictive, that's the killer, literally. Thank you guys for being a good audience, and I'm hoping some of the information I've shared with you today might help you in a good way.
Reggie's son never managed to quit. For Reggie, there is someone responsible for his misery: Purdue Pharmaceutical.
And in 1996, something happened different. A company called Purdue Pharmaceutical came out with a drug called OxyContin, and they started a myth and falsely promoted that opioids were rarely addictive. Maybe only 1% of the time could you get addicted to an opioid. That was not true then, and it is not true now. It never was true. That was a false statement, and other companies jumped on the bandwagon of making money. And the false lies spread and the false marketing spread. They are guilty of lying about these drugs. They caused this epidemic. I believe that with every fiber of my being.
Back in 1996, the first promotional ad campaign for an opioid was broadcasted. We found it.
We doctors were wrong in thinking that opioids can't be used long term. They can be and they should be. We used to think they'd stop working, or the patients would become addicts, or they'd be sedated into inactivity. These 6 cases show how wrong those views were.
In this little film, the public was assured with certification that OxyContin would show no risk of addiction despite its high concentration in opium. To make it believable, a real doctor and real patients bear witness. They all confirm that this treatment, usually reserved for patients in the terminal phase of cancer, can be used without any danger for common pains.
I got my life back now. Now I can enjoy every day that I live. I can really enjoy myself.
Since I've been on this new pain medication, I have not missed one day of work.
This medication does not turn you into a zombie. It has turned me into an active person again.
Whereas addiction is the first known risk of an opioid, the figures shown by Purdue Pharma are purely and solely unreliable.
Some patients may be afraid of taking opioids because they're perceived as too strong or addictive. But that is far from actual fact. Less than 1% of patients taking opioids actually become addicted.
Since 1998, doctors have observed patients developing addiction. Yet in this internal memo, the laboratory keeps on encouraging its representatives to sell at all costs their miracle pill, using bonuses, premiums, and all sorts of gadgets. In only 5 years, OxyContin went from 600,000 prescriptions a year to more than 6 million. Nowadays, Purdue Pharma is the first company standing accused in the lawsuit filed by the state of Oklahoma. In order to prove its responsibility, the team relies on Dr. Kolodny.
In the first 6 years of the release of OxyContin, Purdue sponsored 20,000 educational programs across the United States. They gave money to the professional societies to advocate for more opioids. The organization that regulates hospitals took money from them. The organization that regulates doctors in different states took money from them. From all of these different directions, we were told to prescribe much more. The opioid lobby, the manufacturers and distributors of opioids, spent $880 million over a 10-year period blocking efforts for more cautious prescribing, that they spent 8 times more than the gun lobby in the United States has spent in trying to block gun regulations. The manufacturers of opioids are spending more money trying to block regulations on opioids.
The lie spreads, and is disseminated year after year. During that time, the epidemic takes root. Hidden in the shadows for so long, the addiction of 1 million American citizens suddenly comes to light.
The states with the most people showing up for treatment saying they're addicted to the pills show up as red or maroon. And so this is 99, 2001, 2003, 2005, 2007, and 2009. What you can see is that in every state in the United States, we've seen a very sharp increase in the number of people seeking treatment for addiction to prescription opioids.
Big companies were aware that these pills were dangerous, addictive.
Of course.
And could kill people.
Of course. They were aware before they put out their drug. And when the drug started to get prescribed, it was very clear early on there was a public health problem associated with this. So there was overwhelming evidence that the products that were making them rich were killing people.
I got my life back now.
We wanted to find the patients that testified in this ad. Johnny passed away in 2008 in an accident caused by OxyContin. His wife confided he had become addicted to it. Lauren was addicted for years. Now she's free of it. Ira became addicted and was also found dead of a cardiac arrest. 3 patients out of 6 had become addicted. As for the doctor who appeared in the film, here is his answer.
It's not acceptable to say, I don't believe in using strong pain medications for chronic pain. We need to stop saying this.
Would you care for more tea? Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
Heavenly Father, thank you for the meal that we have. We love you so much. Tell Chelsea we love her and all my family. In Jesus Christ's name I pray. Amen. Me and Chelsea came here a lot, but I just feel like she's here with me every time I come here. And I just feel her presence, you know. It makes me shine inside. We struggle with this, so it's a daily thing. You gotta let it go. People say you have to let it go. Tell us how you do that.
Time doesn't heal all wounds.
Yeah,
that's not true. If it happened to one person, you know, okay, it was an accident. This is 5 people. That's not an accident. I mean, I don't know what her thinking was. I really don't. I would like to know what her thinking was. How did she think that was helping?
Chelsea was 21 when she passed away. The same age as Kyle, who's still struggling for his life. Kyle has begun his first days of therapy at the center. In his struggle against the addiction, only speech seems to be the all-purpose remedy.
Okay, so what I want to do today is incorporate a little bit of the stuff that we did this morning. Every single one of us, to include myself, when we come in here, all of us have a tendency for this particular thing I'm going to talk about. Several of the guys that are in here were athletes. They got injured. That introduced him to the opiates. Whenever they take the opioids, they find out, hey, not only does this make me physically feel better, but emotionally I feel better. So what have opiates done for you? How'd you feel?
Made me feel like a better person.
Okay.
Like I'd be in the house all day, and then once I got high, I could go out and do whatever I wanted to do.
So here's a tough question. Who else used a needle?
Everybody else here is dealing with the same thing, and you know, I can relate to a lot of these people's stories, and it's just, I'm glad that I'm not alone. I don't feel alone anymore, and so that's made me feel a lot better.
On day 15 of his treatment, Kyle relapsed. One of the patients had brought in heroin secretly. He couldn't resist. After he plunged back, he was sent to this facility. Monitored under high surveillance, away from his family and son, he's following his treatment to be able to go back to the ranch.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. Lord, we thank you for this food we're about to receive. We thank you for them.
I've just been going on a 4-year stretch with it, and I just can't seem to stop. And yeah, it's highly addictive.
Why is it so hard to be sober? Because you have pain?
I guess it's just now that I'm sober, I have feelings. And I mean, because when I used to get high, I would just get high and pass out.
Back door.
You okay? All right. Hey, baby.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good. I just got out of church.
You went to church this morning?
Yep. And just got home. We're about to watch a movie.
Oh, okay. Well, it's almost 12, so I'm gonna run by and pick up Cash and come out there to you so that you can spend some time with him.
Okay, cool. I love you, and good luck. All right.
All right, well, I love you too, and I'll give you a call here after a little bit.
All right.
Okay, bye. He's doing a lot better. His relationship with me, his relationship with his brother, his relationship with his son. Kyle's burned every bridge possible. Even though he's hurt us the most, we still have to be the ones to be there for him. And there's times that we don't want to. So we have to set our feelings aside and support him.
I think that really the most difficult part of this, as far as anger goes and stuff, is just knowing that all these companies know what their drugs are doing, and they won't say it. They're like, oh, our drugs are so helpful, when they're ruining more lives than they're helping. I think the only time we've ever had any sort of opiates in the house was after my surgery last year. And at that time we knew about Kyle's issue.
And we hid them.
Yeah.
We hid them.
Yeah,
For sure.
My mom wouldn't even let me take my prescribed amount.
I was so scared. That's what they prescribed him. He had...
It was the same exact stuff that my brother got addicted to.
Yeah.
OxyContin.
OxyContin.
Which the street name for that is Roxy's, and they give you the exact same effect as heroin, and according to my brother, they're even more addicting than heroin.
And he had legitimate surgery, and I freaked out. I was like, no, you can't take these. And here he had just had his appendix taken out. He needed them. And I didn't even want him taking them because I wasn't going to go through this again.
Yeah.
Just like Kyle's family, the whole country is in a state of awareness, wanting to change things and contain the epidemic. At the Oklahoma University, an unseen and aggressive alliance was formed. Researcher Andrew Kolodny, lawyer Reggie Whitten, and Dr. Jason Beeman. They've all gathered to establish a common fight plan against every single laboratory.
This over to Dr. Jason Beeman.
Dr. Beeman has created the first college education program of the country on painkillers addiction.
Project Echo.
And then also let's provide education to all of the prescribers from dentists, doctors, and veterinarians right then and there. We think that that will do more to decrease opioid prescribing than any of our other initiatives.
I think the overwhelming response has been that the doctors that are graduating now and going out into practice are not prescribing these. And we've seen over 20% decline in prescriptions in Oklahoma over the last 2 years. My medical students will never be involved in this overprescribing behavior. There are definitely some doctors that have knowingly contributed to this problem. They saw an opportunity to make money and they went for it. But that's a very small minority.
Oklahoma's Department of Justice is also trying to stop those who are responsible, like one of the richest families in the country, the one that funds and controls the Purdue Pharma empire.
Article I wanted to show you that appeared in Forbes about the Sackler family. And back in 2015, they had $14 billion in one of the richest families in the United States. And they've sold more than $35 billion worth of OxyContin since it was released.
Purdue Pharma was bought in 1952 by the Sackler brothers, both doctors. Until then, their name was unknown to the general public. Nowadays, they're billionaires and very much appreciated by art connoisseurs. The Sackler dynasty made itself known as the patrons of museums such as the Louvre or the Guggenheim, but without anyone making the connection between their fortune and their company. Michael Burridge intends to make this truth known. Do you think they knew what they were doing?
Sure they knew what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing. They pleaded guilty to crimes of fraudulently, with intent, knowingly, fraudulently marketing OxyContin. That's the result of, they knew one thing for sure, that they were making billions of dollars. I mean, billions of dollars, and they didn't care who it destroyed or what damage it caused.
In 2007, the company pleaded guilty to the federal accusations of misleading marketing and false advertising. Condemned, they paid over $635 million in penalties and continued to sell opioids. The Sacklers would never have been able to market this product without authorization. The FDA has to control and regulate every single drug put on the market. It authorized the use of OxyContin as a painkiller without a problem.
Some of the same FDA officials involved in regulating the drug would wind up leaving FDA and taking higher paying jobs for Purdue Pharma and other drug companies. We call that the revolving door. I think they should have figured out earlier what was going on, and to this day, some of these same FDA officials are still at the FDA, and rather than saying we made a horrible mistake, we have to change our policies, they haven't changed their policies. They keep approving more opioids.
It's a big day for Oklahoma. The Attorney General's teams are facing the lawyers of the 4 companies being sued. A judge has to rule whether there's enough evidence to go to trial.
Purdue Pharmaceutical, Teva, Activa, Johnson & Johnson, we sued the ones that we knew about that did business and falsely marketed in Oklahoma. My goal is to let the truth come out. I really hope this case goes to trial. It's an enormous amount of money, and they're going to fight to the death, is what they've indicated, to try to show that they didn't cause this. They're probably going to blame this on doctors, and they're probably going to blame it on people like my son who got sick.
We've probably got at least 20 lawyers working on it. They have billions to spend on defense, billions to spend on lawyers, and they have no limit on what they'll spend in these cases. And they ship lawyers down here from the East Coast, and they try to delay as much as they can.
It took years of investigation and hearings for the course of history to change. But the time for reckoning has come. For the first time, 4 laboratories will be judged as being responsible for the crisis.
Long day. I think they would like us to stop. and go away, but we're not. We can't wait to get to trial. May of 2019, we're going to tee up for trial, and we're looking forward to it. We believe in our case. I believe in our case with every fiber of my being, and I look forward to trying this case.
I think we're the first case in the nation set for trial, and we've been getting calls from other states. We will set the precedent. I think we will make some history on that matter. Yes, I do. I hope it's good history.
The lawyers of the 4 laboratories dodged us. Despite our repeated demands, for now, none of them has accepted to meet with us. They were smiling. How does that make you feel?
Maybe you can come back when that jury verdict comes in and see how much they're laughing.
That's a better answer.
I faced a mountain that I never faced before, and that's why I'm calling on you, Lord. And I know it's been a long time since you've heard my voice, but please, Lord,
I'm scared of getting hooked on drugs again. That's my biggest worry right now. I pray that I don't the path and just ask God.
It's been 3 months since Kyle reintegrated the ranch. His therapy is coming to an end. He now has to leave, find a new routine where painkillers don't exist.
Now that I'm sober, I feel a lot better, a lot more confident. Like my body doesn't hurt anymore. I feel healthy.
And sometimes it takes a mountain. Sometimes it's a troubled sea. And sometimes it takes a desert for you to get a hold of me.
This is a little letter I wrote to my son. It says, "Son, it's Daddy. I've been in a very miserable place for some years now. Daddy's hurting. Unfortunately, I've brought my pain upon you. I'm in a safe place learning more and more on how to help myself. I want to be better so bad, son. I miss you so much. That's part of the reason why I'm writing this letter. My addiction just won't let me be the good guy I want to be. Not even for 1 second. I hate it just as much as you do. I don't want you to go through this any longer. I promise you Daddy's on his way back. This time I'm here to stay with you. You've got me wrapped around your tiny little fingers. Please forgive me. Love, Daddy."
After he left the ranch, Kyle moved in with his mother for a while. He's now found a job and rents a flat where he can accommodate his son. Every day is a struggle. This is the final battle, the one that gets to decide the fate of Dr. Nichols. Her lawyer asked for a dismissal of counts. The state of Oklahoma wants the lawsuit to go before a criminal court.
I think she acted extraordinarily recklessly. So what my goal is to Burks file a motion to allow the court and the jury to hear all the other victims that died as a result of her negligence as well. So the jury can get a full picture of what she was doing during that time. Your daughter was 21 when she died, and there's no reason why she should have been on that type of medication at the age of 21, especially diabetic.
And we think that the evidence has absolutely failed to show that this is a murder case. The law is very clear about what is a murder case and what is not. There's other cases involving doctors, frankly, with far more egregious conduct than this. And we think the judge will see that, will make those arguments, and we hope that the judge dismisses the case.
So are you confident?
Absolutely.
You're waiting for the doctor?
Yeah, she should be right along.
Could we have an interview with her, maybe later?
As soon as the case is dismissed, yeah.
All along the hearing, Dr. Nichols seems detached from the events surrounding her. A vacant look on her face. She will never speak. As if none of this were her concern. The judge has reached a ruling. Dr. Nichols will be tried for murder. It's an exceptional decision on the part of the American justice system. The trial has to happen in a year or less. From now on, she's banned from practicing. Dr. Nichols and her lawyer have decided to plead non-guilty.
I think it's a good thing. She's going to have to go to court. She's going to have to answer for what she did wrong. And she's going to have to answer in front of the jury. I know he added a manslaughter, but at least he didn't dismiss it.
And she deserves, you know, to go before a jury trial and see what's going to happen with her, you know. My daughter deserves that.
They used to prescribe all kinds of dangerous drugs that we now know are dangerous, but at the time, they were doing the best they could to treat their patients. And now they're blaming one of their own victims for doing the best she could with the medical knowledge she had.
Love you. Daddy loves you. I miss you. I miss you. You hear me? I believe you hear me. Love you, Chelsea. I miss her. It's hard. Don't miss her. But through this, I can smile. I can smile and say, we're gonna help. She's helping somebody else. Yeah. So that's what I'll see through it. Hey, I forgive her. I forgive her, I really do. If she hears me or ever hears me, I forgive her. I do. I have to forgive.
Since that case happened, dozens of American doctors have been sentenced in a court of law for overprescribing opioids. And 27 states are suing the laboratories for financial losses. The Purdue Pharma Company is now looking for new clients for its opioid. It has created subsidiaries in Asia and South America. Everywhere, opioid consumption is on the increase, despite patients knowing the truth.